President Donald Trump is turning himself in at the Fulton County, Georgia jail today after getting indicted, of course, by District Attorney Fani Willis for his role in attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election. He's facing 13 felony counts for his role in doing so. And just before turning himself in, Trump decided to shake up his Georgia legal defense team, which I think is a really fascinating story here. So he added a veteran criminal defense lawyer by the name of Steve Sadow to the team. And Sadow filed a document indicating that he is in fact the lead counsel of record for Donald Trump. Now, he also worked on many high profile cases pertaining to rappers like Usher. You also have Rick Ross, T.I. He's celebrated as one of the top defense attorneys in the state. Now, Trump's decision comes soon after one of his lawyers, Drew Findling, and his two other lawyers in the Georgia case, Jennifer Little and Marissa Goldberg, negotiated a $200,000 bond for Trump. Findling is expected to be let go, according to a person familiar with the matter, while Little will be retained. There were some reports after this was reported that the way Findling was doing the job was not the reason for letting Findling go, but I don't really know why the switch up happened if that's the case. But nonetheless, Trump has been inquiring for several days about who else could be brought in for his legal defense team. And that's according to a person familiar with the discussions. Trump's main concern, according to this person, was that he wanted a more sophisticated team. So Sadow said in a statement that Trump should never have been indicted, adding he is innocent of all the charges brought against him. Prosecutions intend to advance or serve the ambitions and careers of political opponents of the president, have no place in our justice system, alluding to the notion that this is a political prosecution rather than a prosecution with evidence indicating that Trump attempted to overturn the election. Obviously, I disagree with that take. Now, there are other elements of this story worth getting into, including the attempts to move the trial from the state courts to the federal courts. We can get into that. And the disconnect between one of Trump's co-conspirators wanting a speedy trial and Trump's legal team not wanting a speedy trial. We'll get into that as well. But first, Cenk, what do you think about this legal team, defense team switch up?
Yeah, so there's two things here. So number one, Trump changes lawyers more than almost anyone I've ever seen, and this is well documented. And there is a reason for that, because he has unreasonable demands. He will tell a lawyer, okay, go lie on my behalf on television. And the lawyer will be like, I can't do that. Go lie in court, well, I can't do that. Okay, you're fired. And he thinks, well, look, if you guys can get mobsters off, you can get all these guys off, why can't you get me off? And they're definitely guilty, and I'm definitely guilty. A good lawyer would figure out how to get me off, go on television, convince the whole country that I didn't do it when I obviously did it. Yeah, but by the way, the mob family actually tried to cover up their crimes. You didn't even do that, brother. They ran a criminal enterprise, so they had to do some management. So the guys at the top were relatively smart. You, on the other hand, are a knucklehead who's like, hey, you want to know top secret documents? I got it right here. Hey, Mark Meadows' biographer, you want to see them? Here it is, our war plans on around. So mob guys are a little bit more careful than that. So this Sadow guy, he's also represented others, including Gunna and YSL, which of course you know, Young Slime Life. Now he's representing Old Slime Life. So it's a nice little combo there. And the Gambino family. So he's right at home now with the Trump crime family.
Sounds quite experienced. Now he was not a Trump fan. In fact, some of his previous social media posts indicated that he was very much not a fan of Donald Trump's, but he was willing to represent Trump in this legal battle in Georgia having to do with the election meddling. Now let's get to some interesting developments, especially when it comes to whether or not there will be a speedy trial, because there is an individual who's calling for a speedy trial, but Trump ain't into it, okay? Now, as I shared with you all recently, there are 3 defendants that are seeking to remove their cases and instead have them heard in federal court. And that includes Mark Meadows, Trump's former chief of staff, Jeffrey Clark, a former Justice Department official, and also David Schaefer, a former head of the Georgia Republican Party. Now, Jeffrey Clark, the former DOJ official, is the individual who is calling for a speedy trial, and Trump is not having it. But Fani Willis is willing to get started pretty soon, actually. So let's get to those details. Apologies, it's actually Kenneth Chesebro who wants the speedy trial, not Jeffrey Clark.
Can I just say, yeah, I was gonna correct that, but Chesebro is like the funnest name in the world because it reminds me of Waingro from Heat. And because it's like, hey, what are you doing, Chesebro? Why are you trying to move up the trial date?
It just makes me think of someone who's a big fan of cheese. Like he's a cheese bro. He's a cheese connoisseur. He has a business called the Cheese Bros.
There's no way he does. If he doesn't have that business, as soon as he gets out of jail, he should start that business up. And I always think he's a Packers fan. Anyways, but it is super relevant that he wants that date moved up. We'll talk about it.
Yes, okay, so again, I want to correct myself. It is Kenneth Chesebro who wants the speedy trial. He made the demand on Wednesday of this week, and which under Georgia law would require the trial for all 19 of the defendants to begin as soon as possible. He called for it to begin on November 3rd, months earlier than the prosecutors had sought. So Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis filed a motion Thursday suggesting an October 23rd trial date for former President Donald Trump and his 18 co-conspirators in response to the motion filed Wednesday by attorneys for former Trump campaign attorney Kenneth Chesebro seeking a speedy trial in the case. Now, if approved by Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee, who is overseeing the case, Willis would have to begin presenting her case against all 19 before November 3rd, the last day of the next court term in Fulton County. And so she's ready. That's what's really impressive to me about Fani Willis, right? She's coming in strong, and she's like, oh, you want a speedy trial? I'm ready. In fact, they ensured that they had all of their ducks in a row in case this situation arose, and the situation has arose. Like they have decided, okay, if they want a speedy trial, we're willing to go along with this. However, notably, the Trump legal team does not want a speedy trial.
No, they do not.
So why is that, Cenk?
So look, the prosecutors are also a little concerned because they want it to be in March, and gives them 4 more months to prepare. But they say we can go. Okay, I want the speediest trial possible as long as it's fair to everyone involved. And Trump wants it to be as late as possible. Remember, he tried to move some of his trials to 2026. That's 3 years from now, okay? So he doesn't, the very last thing he wants is a speedy trial. Because the quicker they go, the quicker the American people will know, is he guilty, not guilty? They'll get to see some of the witnesses. They'll see Republican after Republican testifying against him. They'll see the evidence against him. And then if he's convicted before the voting starts, look, I know a lot of Republicans say, and then we saw it on the debate stage last night, 6 out of the 8 schmucks that were there said they would back him as a presidential candidate even if he got convicted, if he won the primary. But at some point, this is gonna do damage because the Republican voters are gonna wake up and go, we're walking into a definite loss here, like a nearly guaranteed loss. Are we sure we wanna do that? So we'll see which way they go about it. But to me, Jim Jordan, which we'll get to in a second, does make one good point, which is so rare, it's literally, I've never seen it before, but we're the fairest show in America, so I'll give him this. One of the things that he wants to explore in the hearing is, why did it take 2.5 years? Whether it's Fani Willis or the Justice Department, et cetera, why did it take all of them 2.5 years? And I think that's outrageous. I think that is a real problem. And I'm not even positive that it's not political. I'm not at all positive of that.
I mean, look, obviously it's impossible to be positive, but if I had to make a bet, yeah, definitely. The timing of it is political, in my opinion. Again, opinion. I don't have like the evidence to show you that, But there was no reason why it needed to take this long to indict Trump.
Yeah, and so the original, what Fani Willis is asking for is for the trial to start right before the voting begins, like a day before Super Tuesday, and
Come on,
it's too much. It's
yeah,
too
I agree
much.
with that.
I hope Cheesebro wins because it should be before that. It shouldn't be after that. It shouldn't be then. It should be before.
I totally agree with you on that. So he's going to report to the jail today and get booked. Donald Trump will. Many of his co-conspirators have already been booked, and we've showed some of those mugshots to you. And we will update you as soon as he does officially get booked, and very likely has his mugshot taken as well.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.